We have to all be conscious of this, okay? Now, let's just say a word about us women and how we're changed by this whole thing. Oh, one other thing for you guys, all right? You guys have 3 different kinds of sperm. You have egg getters. You'll like these. They're a highly technical term. Egg getters, blockers, and killers. And this is a British guy. He probably played rugby, but that's just a guess, right? Now, the egg getters are the very sleek sperm that we normally see. Their goal is to get up here and to meet the ovum. The ovum is released. There are little hair-like things that help it to move down. At the same time, the sperm have to move up. The blockers have to do with filling in the crypts of the cervix so that the egg getters can get through. All right? For the most part, killers are benign unless this woman has had multiple partners in a short period of time. These are highly poisonous. They now go to war with the sperm of the other male, and there's a sperm war going on in our women's bodies. This can result in something that's called bacterial vaginosis, which is a pretty high-tech, not high-tech, pretty inflammatory infection that needs treatment, because suddenly the chemistry, we women tend to be acidic and you guys are alkaline. It tips us into alkalinity, and now we don't fight off the naturally occurring microbes. All right? But, you guys know this? Your sperm is worthless unless it's changed in her body. It has to be changed right here. It spends 5 hours being changed or is incapable of entering into the egg. Impossibility. Impossibility is called capacitation. It changes the head of the sperm, which makes it now capable of penetrating the egg, and it changes the way the sperm swims. It's now much more direct, and the tail is much more, it's a whip-like action, designed to be able to move it up here to meet the baby. All right? Now, let me say something. You guys, your sperm is incredibly fragile. All right? Don't carry cell phones in your pants pockets, gentlemen. I'm dead serious about this. There's radiation. Laptops. Sperm is very temperature sensitive. Hot tubs. But oh, there's something else. The things that we can get addicted to, THC, amphetamines, and opiates, have to do with reproduction. All right? I'll say a word about that in a minute, but I want to say something about THC. Okay? Opiates. All right? The chemistry of pot, you're told, is benign. Oh no, gentlemen, it just messes with your sperm enormously. It damages it. Oh yeah, sometimes it doesn't work at all. Other times it's damaged and it kind of works. All right? We don't know how long it stays in your body. But there's more. Because the communication between this ovum, women, and this sperm has to do with the chemistry. It's related to this chemistry of THC. The fact that the sperm finds the proper place to enter on the ovum is related to this. And once conception happens, the baby finds its way down here to build the placenta because there's a place ready based on the same chemistry. This chemistry impacts reproduction. All right? Now, let's say a word about women. When we women get pregnant, everything in our body changes. Everything. Our breast tissue changes, the way our body works, the way our brain works, everything changes. But one of the things that's most interesting is that the following. Every mom in the world carries the cells of every child she has ever conceived the rest of her life, it seems. We found the cells 40 years later. There's no reason to think at 41 they disappear. They are everywhere in our body, all right? But it's more interesting than that. We give those cells. Well, let me ask this. How many of you have older brothers and sisters? Raise them high. Yeah, guess what you carry in your body? Yeah, the cells of your older brothers and sisters, because they got passed to you by your mom in the pregnancy. We don't know what they do, but I will tell you that people who've lost brothers and sisters through abortion or through miscarriage intuitively know. And they don't just say, I think I lost a sibling. They'll say, I lost a brother or I lost a sister, because these cells are there. All right? Now, we mothers also give cells to our children. I believe that that is the basis of mother's intuition. That's how come sometimes your moms know things you did not want her to know. All right? There's this, it's a very active system. If this baby is born with an anomaly, the cells of the mom gather there to try and fix it. But there's more. Remember I said this? We got this partner and we got this partner, women. If these are my children, these cells will help to heal my body. They tend to gather in places we women have diseases. And there is an oncologist in Pennsylvania who is taking the cells of sons with this match with the partner. The women have cancer, injecting them into the tumors, and oh yes, the tumors disappear without any ill effects, right? If this is my partner, we know that these cells can cause autoimmune diseases, in particular the disease scleroderma, but other ones. Why? Because they're too much like me, and my body cannot make this discrimination and sets off an autoimmune attack. All right? Now, women, it takes 6 months for your body to make the adaptation to the sperm of your partner, because sperm is laden with antigens. 6 months of being in a state of autoimmune response, and then your body goes, oops, that's my partner. And then when I conceive, we truly are one because we're carrying the DNA of our partner the rest of our life. Okay? We women absorb seminal fluid. You guys think the seminal fluid is merely a carrier for sperm, but that's not true. There are more than 30 compounds in seminal fluid, including things like sugars, different kinds of minerals, like in particular zinc, which enhances our autoimmune system, women, okay? 30 different compounds and tons of hormones. 13 kinds of prostaglandins that cause little contractions. That's how the sperm gets moving here, all right? Follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, seminal fluid of our partner may trigger ovulation in us women because we are absorbing this for 15 hours. All right? We are truly becoming one with our partner. You know, back to that question of hookup sex. If any exposure here sets off this reaction, and we can't stop it, it's there. All right? Now, the other thing, briefly, this question of falling in love. All right? Let's talk just 1 minute about that. I talked about THC. Amphetamines, your brain can become addicted to amphetamines. This has to do with the first stage of falling in love. It's called infatuation. You know it? It's wonderful. Oh, the stars are so bright and the birds are so loud, and you can TM and IM all night. And isn't this romantic, this guy or this girl? You know, we have 30, 40 contacts a day. Oh man, that's romantic. Yeah, let me tell you about the brain chemistry it's directly related to. You're familiar with it? Obsessive compulsive disorder? We don't think clearly here. This is not a time to be having sex because we do not objectively see our partner. All right? It's a time when you get addicted to a relationship. Good news, bad news, this only lasts 4 months to maybe 4 years. Okay? If you watch the media, you would believe that then you should go find a new partner. But the reality is that we move from this to this opiate base, which is oxytocin. This is the stuff of deep love. This is the stuff of people who've been married 30, 40 years. It's a calmer love. But when your partner's missing, you're at a loss. You just feel, you don't eat, you don't sleep. But this is the deep, deep bond. And when you're over here, you are now able to look at that partner. Oh yeah, you know what you figured out? That person's stalking you. They want to control you. They need to know where you are every second of the day. Okay, that's not somebody you want to marry. Okay? It's not somebody for a long-term relationship. But we need to understand that there is this movement from infatuation to deep, deep love. Okay? Just couple of other things. Amongst a group, if we had a group here of 18 to 25-year-olds that had been sexually active, what's your guess about how many of them would have contracted a sexually transmitted disease? 1 in 2. Now, 1 in 2. We need to know that if we're on the pill, we're predisposed as young women to get sexually transmitted diseases because it changes something. It changes our cervix. Our cervix is not done growing. Normally that's a very thick protective muscle. But there's a place on there called the transformation zone that's still growing. On the pill, it makes the transformation zone get bigger, and now you are more likely to contract an STD. According to some research, if you are on the pill and you contract HPV, and you know there's like, 20 kinds of HPV, you will get the precancerous kind. It changes the mucus and it doesn't protect you any longer. There are many, many pieces of this. You need to make decisions. Am I going to have sex or not? If I'm going to have sex, am I going to get pregnant? Yes or no? If it's no, that you didn't get pregnant, the second question is, did you contract an STD? Because the majority of women contract an STD on their first sexual encounter. We don't ask the guy if he has an STD, and you guys get infected the same way. I mean, they haven't studied as much about this, but you guys, you didn't get an STD because it fell out of the sky. You got an STD because you got it from someone who was infected. And we need to be conscious of that, okay? The awareness of how incredibly viral and these infections are just enormous. Many of them, people, are not treatable. They are viruses. You are going to carry HPV. Most of the time it disappears, but occasionally it becomes active. You contract herpes, you're going to carry it the rest of your life. There's not a real good treatment. I say to young women, if you're going to have sex with your boyfriend, did you ask him if he has an STD? Oh yeah, you guys all know what you say. Did you check to see if there are any lesions? Why not? I don't know him well enough. Then you better not be having sex with him, because this is a life and death situation. You got to make choices. People go, oh, condoms. Condoms are great. Oh, they'll protect you from everything. No, really. The HIV virus is so small, it passes right through a condom. It's way smaller. And, you know, this whole question, do you know that if a guy that you're dating is infected with HPV, that about half of them have it under their fingernails? If you have skin contact, you got it, people. All right? This is about making choices for your life, okay? My dream for you guys is that you'd make good sexual choices. You know, the good news is that you can start over tomorrow, okay? We're also in the situation of people saying, oh, don't worry, you can have oral sex. Oral sex is sex. Are you aware that, oh yeah, HPV is an equal opportunity infector? Yeah, mouth cancer. Yeah, there's a real epidemic going on. Gonorrhea of the throat. Huge in numbers on college campuses. It's about making choices because there's so many pieces we don't know. The joy of marrying your best friend, because that's where you start with somebody. You've got to be friends. You know, the number of guys who say that they won't marry you if you have sex on the first date is close to 90%. Right? People who have hookup sex, women say about 90% that they regret it. Okay? There's more depression, there's more suicide, more alcohol use in young people that get involved in sexual activity. Because the bond, this is designed to be a lifetime bond. You're physically changed by this. You are being called by God to make a bond and a connection. And then it just doesn't happen. There are broken hearts. What about cohabitation? Cohabitation hurts just as much when you break up as a divorce. Yeah. And you know, people who cohabit, sex isn't as good as married sex. They're much more likely to have violence in the relationship. The children that are conceived if there isn't a marriage are more likely to have their parents split. And there is infidelity. All right? Those who live together before marriage are much more likely to get divorced. Okay? So this awareness of how awesome we were made. God made us with all these things going on in our bodies and nobody tells us about them. But when we understand them, we can really appreciate how incredibly we're made and how things can really mess with our systems. Okay? Now, last thing, I want to show you, it's going to be hard to see, but I'll explain it to you. You notice that up here it's all white, and down here it's almost all black. All right? This is a chart done by a physician who deals with STDs in kids. If you've not ever had sexual exposure, and you marry a man or a woman who's not had it, your chances of having an STD are 0. But when you get down here, if you've had 12 partners and he's had 12 partners and your partners have all had 12 partners, in each act of intercourse you are exposed to 4,095 people. The chances of getting infected with something are really high. Okay? Really high. We are simply called to make good decisions based on what we know. All right? And that's my encouragement to you, that 24-hour thing. Go think about it. Are you really ready for this? If this person loves you, they're not going to leave you. They're going to respect you. Because both of you are changed by this experience, guys and women. And so the awareness, again, of that importance of making good choices. Does anybody have questions? Yeah, your brains are all spinning. I know that. Okay? I'm clear. I've done this talk a lot. Well, thank you all very much. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope you learned something.